From the sun-baked plains of ancient India to the vibrant streets of Latin America, one people's extraordinary journey would span 10 centuries and 3 continents. They are the Roma, masters of survival, keepers of ancient traditions, and perhaps history's most misunderstood wanderers. Their story begins in the royal lands of Rajasthan and Punjab, where warriors and merchants once ruled supreme. But how did these children of India come to dance to the rhythms of Latin America? Their tale is one of forced exile and daring escape, of persecution and resilience, of cultural preservation against impossible odds. Through medieval kingdoms and across treacherous seas, the Roma would face enslavement, deportation, and even genocide. Yet somehow, their spirit remained unbroken, their culture undefeated. This is the epic saga of how a people from the Indian subcontinent helped shape the soul of the New World. In the year 1001, the gates of India would be breached by a force that would inadvertently launch one of history's greatest migrations. Mahmud of Ghazni's armies swept through the northwestern provinces, sending shockwaves that would uproot entire communities. Among them were skilled artisans and performers from Rajasthan and Punjab, the ancestors of today's Roma people. Their origins are written in their very language. The word pani for water, manush for man, and hundreds more echo their Sanskrit heritage, preserved across a millennium of wandering. Like linguistic time capsules, these words would survive a journey of thousands of miles. As they moved westward through Persia, these wanderers absorbed new customs while fiercely guarding their own. Their metalworking skills, passed down through generations, became their passport through hostile lands. Their music, a blend of Indian ragas and Persian melodies, would enchant courts from Constantinople to Cordoba. But Europe would prove both a sanctuary and a prison. Initially welcomed as exotic travelers, many Europeans believed they were Egyptian penitents, hence the misnomer Gypsies. This fascination would soon turn to fear. When the Black Death struck in 1347, the Roma became convenient scapegoats. Their dark complexion and mysterious origins bred wild tales of witchcraft and devilry. By 1498, the hammer fell. The Holy Roman Empire declared them outlaws, stripping them of all legal protection. England's 1530 Egyptians Act went further, making their very existence a crime. Across Europe, Roma could be killed on sight, their children seized, their women branded. Yet somehow, against these overwhelming odds, the culture would survive, their spirit unbroken. The stage was now set for an even more dramatic chapter in their story, one that would take them across the Atlantic to an entirely new world. In 1499, a single document would seal the fate of thousands, the Pragmatica of Medina del Campo, signed by Spain's Catholic monarchs, declared war on Roma culture itself. Speaking their language became a crime punishable by having one's tongue cut out. Wearing traditional dress could result in 100 lashes. The choice was stark: abandon their identity or face deportation to the unknown lands across the Atlantic. But this was no mere exile. It was a calculated strategy of cultural genocide. Portuguese authorities would later follow suit, rounding up Roma families in midnight raids. Children were torn from parents, wives from husbands, as they were herded onto ships bound for the Americas. These vessels, already infamous for transporting enslaved Africans, became floating chambers of horror for the Roma. Records show that on some voyages, up to a third of deportees perished before reaching the New World. Yet remarkably, Roma were among the first Europeans to set foot in the Americas, not as conquistadors, but as captives. In Mexico's silver mines, Roma laborers toiled alongside indigenous workers. In Brazil's sugar plantations, their sweat mixed with that of enslaved Africans. Cuban records from 1570 show Roma, women forced to serve as domestic slaves in wealthy colonial households. But the Roma spirit proved impossible to break. In the dense forests of Brazil, escaped Roma joined with runaway slaves to form hidden communities called quilombos. Here, something extraordinary happened. Roma music began to blend with African rhythms and indigenous melodies. The haunting sound of the Roma violin merged with African drums, eventually influencing the birth of Latin American musical styles. Perhaps most remarkably, some Roma managed to preserve their ancient traditions in plain sight. They disguised their ceremonies as Catholic festivals, hid their language within Spanish folk songs, and passed their stories down in secret. Colonial documents from Peru describe mysterious gatherings where Egyptian dances were performed under the full moon, a testament to their cultural resilience. By 1763, an estimated 100,000 Roma had been forcibly transported to the Americas, yet what was intended as punishment would become something else entirely, the beginning of a unique cultural fusion that would help shape the very identity of Latin America. By 1856, when Romania finally abolished Roma slavery, a new chapter in their epic journey was about to unfold. For centuries, Roma had been bought and sold like cattle in Eastern Europe, their worth measured in gold coins, their children torn away and sold separately. Freedom, however, would prove to be a hollow victory. Across Europe, a toxic combination of nationalism and pseudoscience was brewing. Self-proclaimed racial scientists labeled the Roma as biologically criminal. In Germany, these theories would reach their horrific climax in what the Roma call O Barro Porimos, the Great Devouring. Between 1939 and 1945, Nazi death camps claimed up to 500,000 Roma lives. At Auschwitz alone, Dr. Josef Mengele conducted brutal experiments on Roma twins, earning him the chilling nickname Uncle among his young victims. Yet even as Europe descended into darkness, a beacon of hope flickered across the Atlantic. Argentina, under President Julio Roca's open immigration policy, became an unexpected sanctuary. Roma arrivals brought with them their mesmerizing music, which would subtly influence the birth of tango. The distinctive violin flourishes in early tango compositions bear unmistakable traces of Roma musical traditions. In Brazil, Roma communities found unprecedented freedom to practice their traditions. Maria Graça Ferreira, known as the voice of the caravan, became a cultural icon in the 1950s, performing ancient Roma songs in packed theaters. Her recordings preserve melodies that had survived centuries of persecution. But perhaps the most remarkable transformation occurred in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro. Here, Roma fortune tellers became respected community leaders, their traditional conflict resolution methods helping to mediate local disputes. Their centuries-old survival skills proved invaluable in these challenging urban environments. Today, an estimated 2 million Roma call Latin America home. Organizations like the Roma Rights Coalition of Americas fight to preserve their heritage while building bridges with other communities. In the streets of Buenos Aires and São Paulo, young Roma entrepreneurs run successful businesses while maintaining their distinct cultural identity, a testament to their eternal ability to adapt without surrendering who they are. From the ancient warriors of Rajasthan to the vibrant streets of modern Buenos Aires, the Roma journey spans 1,000 years and 3 continents. Their story is written in the rhythms of Latin American music, in the melodies that echo through Rio's carnival, and in the faces of millions who carry this remarkable heritage. Through enslavement, persecution, and genocide, the Roma did more than survive. They preserved their identity while enriching every culture they encountered. Their language still carries ancient Sanskrit words across oceans of time. Their music, once played in Indian courts, now pulses through the heartbeat of Latin American dance. Today, as Roma communities fight for recognition and rights across the Americas, their journey reminds us of humanity's extraordinary capacity for resilience. In their story, we find a profound truth, that cultural identity, like a river, may bend but never breaks. The Roma Odyssey stands as testament to an unshakable truth, that the human spirit, even in its darkest hours, carries within it the seeds of renewal, resistance, and ultimate triumph.